All right, here's our video. We're going to be working on writing equations in slope-intercept form. So here are some practice problems that we're going to do. And we're going to practice a new annotation strategy. We have up here, you can see RRA. So that stands for read, reread, and annotate. We're going to use that when we read our directions to make sure that we are understanding what the question is asking. We want to be able to think clearly and answer the question correctly, following whatever the directions are asking. So we want to make sure we can do that, and this is one of the strategies we're going to use for that. So first, let's read the directions. Write the slope-intercept form of the equation of each line given the slope and y-intercept. So first I've read that. Now I'm going to reread it. Write the slope-intercept form. As I'm reading, I'm going to underline this. Of the equation of each line given the slope and the y-intercept. So it can be a little bit confusing when I read something like this. There's a lot of vocabulary words in here. So as I'm reading, I might underline things that I don't quite know, or I might want to remember, and I might want to jot something down. So when I see slope-intercept form, I'm trying to remember what that is. And I can look it up in my ISN, or if I remember what that is, I can write it right above here. So let's write this. Y equals mx plus b. That's going to remind me that that's the way they want my equation written, in that form. Because it says write the equation. So I'm going to have to write an equation in that form, y equals mx plus b. And they're telling me that they're going to give me the slope and the y-intercept. So slope is another vocab word, and I want to remember, what do I know about slope? Well, I know the letter we use for slope is m. And y-intercept, what do I want to remember about that? The letter we use for that is b. And those are helpful because those are also in this equation over here. So that's why I chose to write m and b. I could write rate of change here. I could write a point or a little definition. Whatever helps me remember what those words mean. So now when I go to the first problem, I know I've got to write y equals mx plus b, so I'm going to start with that. If it helps, you could even write it with a blank where the m and the b are. Blank x plus blank. So I could fill in the pieces that are missing. So that's kind of like starting off my answer for myself. Before I really know what numbers go where, that's how I know I want my answer to look at the end. I just have to figure out what goes in the m spot and what goes in the b spot. So up here it says slope. I remember because I underlined it up here that slope is m. So I know this is my m, 6/5. So I can put that right here in this spot right in front of the x. And then I have y-intercept, which is b, is 3. So I can put that right here in the plus b spot. So my equation is going to be y equals 6/5 x plus 3. If you don't like the blanks, you can just write it this way. But if it helps you to put the blanks in there, you can do that as well. So here's my final answer. It's in slope-intercept form. My m is 6/5 x plus b, which is 3. Second problem. This time my slope is -1, and now my y-intercept is also -1. So my m is -1, my b is -1. I'm going to start off with y equals mx plus b. I'm going to fill in what I know. I know m is -1, so I'm going to put -1x. I know b is -1. So I'm going to, instead of plus b, I'm going to put -1. If you wanted to put plus -1, that would be okay as well. There is a shorter way of writing this, so you might need to be familiar with it. Sometimes we don't write a 1 when it's in front of an x. So when it's a -1, I don't write the 1, I just write the negative sign. That can also be written this way. So I can write y equals -x minus 1. I want to know that these are the same thing. I want you to recognize that those are the same thing. So if you see this one, you'll know it's the same as that. If you want to write this one here, then do it. If you don't want to write it, then do it like this. If it's a -1, you have to have the negative sign. Okay, so here's our final answer. So all we were doing in those first two steps were substituting in. Those were like our first door in our flat, our first door in our foldable. All right, so now on to the second part. Write the slope-intercept form of the equation of the line through the given point with the given slope. So again, I'm going to annotate as I'm reading. I'm going to read it a second time. Write the slope-intercept form, so that's y equals mx plus b, of the equation, that's going to be y equals mx plus b, equation of the line, through the given point with the given slope. So they're going to give me a point, which is going to be an xy, and they're going to give me a slope, which is going to be my m. So try to make these notes as you're reading directions. It'll help you so that when you see them, be able to break down what it is the question is asking you to do and not just memorize it by how it looks. So if I change the way the words are written, or if I change the way the problem is presented, I still want you to be able to do it. So first, through the point 1, negative 2, given a slope equals 3. So 1, negative 2 is my xy. And my slope is 3, which means that's my m. I'm going to fill that information in. All right, so since I want my equation in y equals mx plus b, again, I am going to start and write y equals mx plus b to begin with. This is like the second door that we filled in. The step 1, if I read it to you from our ISN, says, substitute x, y, and m into y equals mx plus b. Solve for b. So I'm going to go through y equals mx plus b and fill in everything I know so that I can figure out what b is. So y is going to come from my y point, for the y part of my point, which is going to be negative 2. So I'm going to start with a negative 2. Equals. M is right here, is 3. X is from the point as well. That's 1. I'm going to put a parenthesis and a 1. And then plus b, because I don't know what b is. My next step is to solve for b. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to multiply 3 times 1, and I'm going to get 3. So I'm going to rewrite my equation. Negative 2 plus 3 times 1 is 3 plus b. To solve for b, I do the inverse and subtract 3 on both sides. I get negative 5 equals, they cancel out, b. Now that I have b, step 2 says to substitute m and b into y equals mx plus b. So again, I'm going to start with y equals mx plus b. And I'm going to substitute in my m and my b. M is 3. It's going to go in that spot. So y equals 3x plus b. B is my negative 5. It's going to go in this spot. And actually, I'm not going to write a plus. I'm going to write a minus because it's a negative 5. Minus 5. That is my final answer. Y equals 3x minus 5. It's important that we circle or box our answer so that we're showing the person looking at our paper that we know what the final answer is. You know that you're finished with the problem. Okay, we can do the second one. So again, we're going to write our slope-intercept form. So I'm going to start with y equals mx plus b. I'm going to substitute in what I know. First I'm going to label. This point is xy. My slope is negative 1, so I'm going to put an m above that. And I'm going to fill in everything I know. Substitute y. Y is 3. 3 equals m. M is negative 1. Parentheses for multiplying. X is 2 plus b. So if I rewrite this, I have 3 equals, let me do the multiplication, negative 1 times 2 is negative 2 plus b. To solve for b, I've got to do the inverse of negative 2, which is to add 2 on both sides of the equation. 5 equals, these cancel out, b. So this time our b was positive 5. So now my job is to go back and write this y equals mx plus b form, substitute my m into the m spot, y equals negative 1, copy down my x, substitute my b into the b spot, positive 5, so I'm going to put a plus 5. Box my answer, and there we go. So y equals negative 1x plus 5. We can write it that way if you'd like. You also could write it y equals negative x plus 5 as well. A little more simple. If at this point you think that you've got this, you can go ahead and try 5 and 6 and then check back to see that you did them right. If not, you can do them with me right now. So number 5, let's annotate here. We got our x, y. 2 is our m. Start with y equals mx plus b. Substitute in what I know. Y is 3. 3 equals m is 2. 2. Instead of x, I'm going to substitute in x. X is 1. So I'm going to put a parentheses. 1 plus b. I'm going to solve for b. 3 equals 2 times 1, which is 2, plus b. Subtract 2 to get b alone. 3 minus 2 is 1. 1 equals b. Substitute that and my m back into my equation. M equals 2, so I'm going to do y equals 2x. B equals 1 plus 1. And that is my final answer. Last one, number 6. xy. My m is negative 3/2. This one's going to be a little trickier, but I'll show you how to do it when we have a slope that is a fraction. Same setup. Y equals mx plus b. Y is negative 1, so negative 1 equals m, which is negative 3/2. I can't forget my negatives here. If I forget one negative, it's going to mess us up. Then I've got an x. X is 4 plus b. In order to do this next part, I need to think about the fact that this is a fraction. I can make 4 into a fraction easily by just making it 4 over 1. That's going to help me do my multiplication. So let's rewrite it here. We have negative 1 equals, I got to multiply these two fractions. So if you forgot how to multiply fractions, we do numerator times numerator. So negative 3 times 4 is negative 12. Denominator times denominator, 2 times 1 plus b. So in order to do this, I've got one more step of simplifying I've got to do here. I've got negative 1 equals, what's negative 12 divided by 2? Negative 12 divided by 2 is going to be a negative number because they're different signs. 12 divided by 2 is 6 plus b. So in order to solve for b, I've got to add 6 on both sides. So I've got 5 equals b. And now I've got to substitute that and my m into y equals mx plus b. So m is negative 3/2, so I'm going to have y equals negative 3 over 2x plus b, which is 5, so plus 5. Circle that up, and that is our answer. And there you have it. Thanks for watching. Make sure you ask questions if there were things that you don't understand, or feel free to rewind and rewatch. I am here to help, so if this is any bit confusing, ask me a question in class. Thanks.